Hello everyone, in this video I will going to expose all DMA cheats history and answer all about how to cheating in DMA questions. This is very long video, I hope it can help y'all who ready to start DMA cheat. If you're a DMA newcomer hoping DMA to exploit it for game cheat, just like you favorite gaming streamer, I strongly encourage you to watch my video in its entirety. There's no other blogger or YouTube video that covers DMA content with the same level of detail as mine. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel because I am an anti-cheating blogger. Currently, there are several companies around the world making DMA cards. This French company invented the 35T DMA card, their company name, Lambda. The second company, a Chinese firm, acquired the French company's Chinese agent. They made slight modifications to the first generation of DMA cards, transforming them into China's 35T DMA cards, hence the reason for the cheaper prices of China's DMA cards. The third company, Silver Shield, was the world's first German companies to manufacture 75T DMA cards. All subsequent DMA card brands, including Captain, were imitations of the products from these three companies. It also has a name that everyone knows, LEET. The first thing I want to get across is that all DMA boards are the same. The difference is that some DMA boards can only flash their own brand of firmware, which is fucking useless, and when you update the firmware, it will just cost you a lot of money for it. Since DMA boards are encrypted, I wouldn't recommend anyone to buy a DMA board that costs more than $200. I would only recommend you to spend the cheapest price, which can also be used, CAP or Z1, LEET 1, which is very good and compatible with any firmware. You can freely choose the firmware according to the games you play, and there will be no obstacles. Contrary to DMA, we recommend that you buy DMA and firmware separately, because it's a firmware that needs to be helped by someone more specialized, as you want to make sure it is only for you 5 people. Maybe you can approach me. I myself think I'm a reliable person, including my buyers. Of course, this is just off the top of my head. I hope you can spend less money on DMA cheats that you don't need to. So, all DMA cards are essentially the same, capable of being flashed with the same firmware. This led to the emergence of encrypted DMA cards, as dealers couldn't use the same firmware as other DMA cards. Encrypted DMA cards only work with firmware from the brand that encrypted them. While encrypted DMA cards might offer better security, it's uncertain. The downside is, if you get banned from a game, you're stuck with that brand's firmware and might have to pay more for a new firmware. Plus, there's no guarantee you won't get banned again. So sorry. What do I need to start using our cheats? 2PC, gaming PC plus radar PC, DMA card plus KMBox B Pro for AIM, Fuser for ESP, optional. Gaming PC. This refers to your primary computer dedicated to gaming activities and where the DMA card will be seamlessly integrated. Radar PC. This is a secondary computing system purpose-built for executing the cheat, ensuring discrete operation. So just your gaming PC to DMA card to radar PC to KMBox, the KMBox aimbot mouse commands to your gaming PC. Fuser passes through video overlay, does not consume additional computer performance. Core graphics card above HD 630 and HDMI port can be used. HDMI port is optional. Through an HDMI cable or a DP to HDMI cable, the game host inputs the game pictures to the video overlay and places it on the lower layer to achieve the effect of a hack wall. I don't suggest buying a Dechen Fuser unless you have a specialized technician who can calibrate the monitor perfectly for you. Otherwise, it might take you a week to get it right. If you're not comfortable using Fuser, watch my latest video. It shows how to use Moonlight streaming as an alternative. You don't have to buy Fuser to cheat, but streaming can be detected. For safety, choose a trustworthy dealer to buy from. Amazon is a good option.
Click on the mouse and press X to exit Moonlight, or the combination of Alt+Shift.
And the DMA card actually not matter, it just to read game memory. Obligatory to use any DMA solution. They all the same. Then accept, Lurker, Immortal, just don't buy this models. You want know why? I'm sorry I can't tell you so much because it would affect the interests of other dealers. So I just don't recommend everyone buying encryption boards, of course. If you want to buy them, I can't stop you. If you take my advice, you will thank me later. Next is KMBox. KMBox B Pro or Net version. They are almost the same. B Pro is a bit stable. Their prices are nearly identical. It's important to mention that setting up KMBox Net activation is more complicated. Therefore, I recommend everyone to buy KMBox B Pro. With it, the device list will only apply to your Radar PC, so you don't have to worry about which one is better. I have tutorial videos about KMBox on my YouTube channel. Next one is firmware. Also, you can call it CFW. Firmware is the most important part. Without firmware, your DMA card will immediately be recognized as an abnormal device, so it is like a driver. You must use good firmware to disguise your DMA card. The only thing that can get you banned, bad firmware. So don't use pre-flashed firmware. As far as I know, many DMA dealers will sell the same firmware to many people, which is also the reason for pooling firmware. EKK, the author of Creating Hidden Wi-Fi Firmware, has already publicly released a list of all dealers selling fake DMA firmware for free. At the same time, we do not recommend that you buy simulation firmware because most of the simulation firmware is produced from EKK, so I recommend that you choose simulation firmware carefully. I only sell real 1.1 firmware, and I have been guaranteed by Sparks if you choose me, I will not let you reject it. If you choose other dealers to purchase, I can also provide you with free advice and help. Now I'm going to test the both DMA card. One is the 35T, one is the 75T DMA card. Then we can know if all the DMA cards are the same. The tool being used now is version 1.4, but its DMA speed is only about 2800. We then tested the DMA card speed with version 1.5 of the tool and found that it exceeded 5000, indicating the speed test for the 75T DMA card. Then we replaced the 35T DMA card to test the speed and see what the difference is. As usual, let's use version 1.4 of the DMA card cheating software's debugging tool to test the speed of this 35T DMA card. We can observe that the speeds from both test software are identical. However, the actual test speed isn't crucial, it's just for fun. What matters is ensuring the average DMA card speed is around 5000, allowing smooth cheating with your DMA card. As long as its average speed is only about 5000, you can happily cheat like your favorite god. Now let's try it on a different computer with a 75T card inserted and see if it's the same speed on a different computer. Difference is that we have also replaced the USB interface of the Radar PC. Let's see how fast it is after replacing the computer. As usual, there are two versions, one 1.4 and one 1.5. So let's see what the difference in speed is. The damn 75T DMA card seems to always act up. It's slower in the 1.4 test results but gets its shit together in 1.5. Meanwhile, the damn 35T DMA card maintains the same speed throughout. So I reckon both cards are just fucking different chips, but everything else is fucking identical. Now I'm going to change the computer of the 35T DMA card to make sure that the 35T DMA card is plugged into a new computer and won't be affected by the same test effects. As we can see, the result is the same as before, so there is no difference between 35T and 75T. We recommend you to buy a 35T DMA card because it is cheap enough. DMA card has nothing to do with security. It's the firmware that has to do with security. You can buy secure firmware from me. I'm happy to help. Let's shut this stupid test down. 75T and 35T isn't much different. If you plan to conduct DMA testing, the devices you should purchase include a cheap DMA card, a safe firmware, a good fuser, and a KMBox B Pro or Net, but they are also same. All the equipment combined, not counting the firmware, cheating software card secret, radar PC logistics shipping price of about $520 US, DMA is not a poor man's toy. Please remember, of course DMA cheats at the moment. There really isn't any way to ban it. Unless you receive a manual ban. It's a manual ban. That's all for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to join our Discord server and we'll solve all your problems.